All right, so our fourth guest is someone who's been a part of my story longer than he probably realizes. I first met Drew when he had me on a podcast during his time at the Student Philanthropy and Engagement Center at the University of Utah. Long before either of us knew how much our work would continue to intersect. Since then, I've had the privilege of watching him graduate, meeting his parents, seeing him step into what has become a defining chapter of his career at the University of Utah's Office of Alumni Relations, where he now serves as the graphic and web content manager. Drew is a creative in the truest sense of the word, someone who blends strategy, design, and instinct with rare steadiness. He's led digital campaigns for a 300,000 plus alumni network, overseen full website redesigns, built brand systems, and somehow still finds time to launch and grow his own apparel brand from concept to profitability. What matters most to me is this: Drew is the kind of thinker who makes ideas better. I have taken countless half-formed thoughts, wild concepts, and a million what-ifs, stronger because he was willing to advise, inform, and refine them. I'm excited for you to hear from him today. So thanks for yapping with us today.
Thanks for having me. That was the best intro I've ever heard, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for being here. So you and I first connected at a moment where you were hosting me. How has your understanding of mentorship shifted as you moved from a student to a professional, someone others now often look to for guidance?
It's been really cool. I think, like, as a student, it was fun to be able to find people of, I don't know, kind of just any background, but specifically something that I was interested in, whether that was design or engagement. And we did a lot of that with, obviously, the call center. And so being able to sort of guide students, I guess that's ultimately where my, I don't know, it wouldn't technically qualify as mentorship probably, but like I was helping teach a lot of students how to be better at what they were doing. And so that was really fun. And then graduating, then moving into the job of the alumni office and just making stuff for students with students is a really also rewarding process that I didn't think I was going to like as much as I actually do. And so I think that being on that side of it is really fun. Just because I get to sort of share my passion with someone that's learning the same thing. And that was ultimately in the very beginning where I started. And so being able to do that more full circle is really cool.
I think that's exactly the point. And it's like, I think the thing that I've been able to talk about in all of these conversations is like, we have this idea, like when I hear mentorship, and I'm gonna use his name out loud because I talked to him on the phone yesterday, like it's Glenn Senninger. It's like, I'm here, I have all the answers, I'm a wealth of resources and information and connections, and we're going to be really structured about this. I'm going to ask you some really intense questions, but I want the best things for you. And like, I love Glenn. I love that that's who Glenn is. I love that that's how he shows up. But I think that oftentimes mentorship looks different than that, right? It is sharing passion or understanding or expertise or experiences. And like, I think if nothing else, I hope that like series 1 on mentorship breaks down the fact, like, if you have a passing conversation with somebody where you see them and share something with them, like, that's mentorship. Whether you called it that, whether you never talk again, whether you don't check in. And that's not to discredit the people who are in formal mentoring relationships. But I think that there is this, like, I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I do that. I don't know if I have done that. And I appreciate you talking about that way. So thank you. Was there a moment, and I think I'm gonna dig here. Was there a moment early in your career when you realized, oh, someone's watching how I do this?
Yeah, I do think so. I think there's actually multiple facets to like that question. So obviously, when you first get out of college, all your family and friends are watching to see like what you're doing, how you handle the massive transformation that is going from school every day to the 9 to 5. And so that's, I think, the first part of it is how your family and friends react and like how they watch what you do. So that's, I think, one of the coolest things, that growing and showing that to the people that you care about and love the most is really fun. But then the other side of it, obviously, on the professional end, is like you have, I don't know, your boss is watching to see how you're doing. You have other peers in the space that are I don't know, maybe also watching just because you're the new person in the space. And so they're like, who's this guy? Why did we hire him? Like, what's so good about this guy? And so there is an aspect of like having a little bit to prove in the beginning, but I think that like ultimately makes it better in the end, right? Because like you're pushed to do better. And so I love pushing myself to do better, but also pushing people up, like that are in the space with me to do better. And so I don't know, just a not competitive in like the traditional sense, but competitive in like the we all want to do this to be better in a collective way. So
Well, I think that that's an important, like, I appreciate you naming that because I think there's like this pressure, right? But I think so often it's like, oh, everyone wants you to do well. Like, everyone can want you to do well, and there can still be pressure. And like, I think even your commentary on like even family and friends, not just people in the workplace, but like, all right, kid, what are you gonna do?
right.
Like how does this work? And how do you kind of begin to build your identity when you have never worked in a professional context like this before? Like, I think I think we could have a whole conversation about just that alone. So thank
100%.
you. One of the things that is unique to me about the role that you have is that in your role, you don't formally lead students, right?
Nope.
But you work closely with students who are doing work.
Correct. Yes.
How, I think a little bit like, how do you come into those conversations? How do you think about kind of the nature of that relationship?
Yeah, I think that especially recently, taking on a lot of the stuff that we've done with the MUS, Emma and I collaborate on that very, I don't know, most days of the week we're doing something with the MUS, at least in some capacity. And a lot of that stems from ideas and conversations that we've had from students. And so they're not my students, so I come at it with a very casual and like, hey, I'm going to be as hands-on or hands-off as you want me to be, but I am a resource here for you. And so approaching it casually like that, I think opens the door for them to take advantage of the opportunity, but not feel like it's forced on them. And so a lot of times if the student is in a role that they've stepped up into, whether it's a volunteer thing or if they're being paid as an intern, whatever the case is, I think that again, they're not my student, so offering as much or as little help as they want, if they're already interested in the thing that they're going to be doing as a student, I would be taking advantage of that resource if I was me. Like, and so not pressuring them to do it, I think is really important, but giving them the opportunity has been, I think, the most important thing for me in building those relationships very casually, I guess.
And I feel like you're so clear about that that I wonder, like, A, I know you, I've worked with you. Like, that's at baseline kind of your personality, but I do want to know if that was mirrored or shown for you by someone when you were a student. Either like that or someone who was not like that, and you're like, I'm not sure that's what I want to do when I'm in a situation like that.
Yeah, I think that I don't know, a lot of like professors and TAs in college, especially in a lot of the classes that I was taking specifically, were way too hands-on in my opinion. And it's like, hey, there's 18 opportunities every week for you to do X, Y, Z and get extra help, whether it's office hours or TA stuff or whatever the case is, and like jamming it down your throat. And I don't know why, but for whatever reason, my personality and for I've always been this way is if you're trying to get me to do something, I probably won't do it. Like it has to feel like an option to me, and I feel like I don't know for whatever reason, understanding that has helped me with a lot of students because I feel like they're also that way. Like they don't want to have stuff jammed down their throats. You want to have an opportunity to be like, or at least feel like you're making a choice, even if you're not. Like, and so I think that was modeled as a student in the opposite way of like just stuff was jammed down my throat all the time. And I was like, okay, if I show up to this even, it's probably going to be exactly the same energy. And I'm not about that. And so like, I don't know, like you said earlier, that's kind of just my personality as well, is I'm just very chill. Like I'm not going to push anything on you that you don't want most times. Like there's going to be situations where I'm like, yes, this is correct. This is how we're going to do it because I know what's best in that situation. But a lot of times I will phrase things more as optional or just try and get more buy-in from the student, and I would have loved to do that as a student myself. So,
Well, because I think it changes like our engagement. Like if I'm choosing this, I tend to show up differently.
right.
If you told me to do this, I might be there, but I'm probably not there with the same level of like, I guess even preparedness, whether it's like tangible or emotional. Like every single thing I've ever been forced to do, it has been obvious that I was forced to do it.
Right,
So
it's
I
under
think that's fair.
protest. Like I'm
Yeah.
doing it under protest most times. Like,
Yes.
and that's just the way it is. But like, I don't know. And that's why I like to do things that are different a lot, and because it feels like it's not the same thing that I'm forcing myself to go back to. Like a lot of projects that I work on are very different, and so that allows me to keep things fresh, which I love. So
Yep. Love it. Um, okay, so you've worked across student engagement, alumni relations, freelance creative work, entrepreneurship. When you think about each of those seasons, who or what have you looked to for support or inspiration? And like this is kind of veering from mentorship even to just like your process, but like who are you looking at who's ahead of you in those spaces?
yeah, I so professionally, I think there's always some look ahead of most times in your office space. You can model things that you want to do off of a lot of different people and like take things that you like from one person and then take things that you like from another person and kind of build and mold what you're going to do that way. So that's definitely my approach in like the professional space. I guess like on campus and stuff like that, I'll see things from the athletics department that I really like, and I'll see things from also different athletics departments like around the country that I will keep up with and follow and stuff like that. And so I don't know, just getting inspiration from that type of thing helps build that process. For freelance stuff that I do, I work with a lot of like athletic or sport or like I work with a club sport team. I work with a big content creator who I do a lot of his merch and jerseys for. As a they're both basketball like people and sport organizations, I suppose. And I get a lot of inspiration for all of that, and that process kind of works with, I would say, just more so keeping up with what I do like about current trends and what I don't like about current trends. And that helps determine a lot. And then I have different artists that are in like the athletic space that I'll follow. And if I'm working on a new project, I'll sort of scroll through a lot of their different portfolios and I don't know, just take inspiration from some of their projects, whether it's colors or shape, like different types of shapes and geometry that they've done or lighting or whatever the case is. And so that's been really interesting. And then with the like with I don't know entrepreneurship stuff, I have I think that there's a lot of people in the space that I know personally that I have relationships that I can go ask questions to, which is really nice. Or there's like a million different online resources, and so a lot of the stuff that I've learned about how to sort of build that and do a lot of the process. One has come from just doing it and figuring it out along the way. But two, if I have any questions or like specific things, or if I want to learn a new skill, I can normally go on a site like up or like a Skillshare or like a something like that, and either hire someone to do it, learn how to do it myself via like YouTube or some sort of like online learning platform, or again just figure it out along the way. That's a lot of this. So.
Well, and I think that like one of that was like 8 sentences that couldn't figure out where they were going. I think like there are just so many resources, and that I think in many senses there's also this like if I go back to like starting a first job or changing jobs or graduating, like there's this pressure to feel like I know what I'm doing, and I think so much of even the value of what you're saying is like you should always be learning. Like there should always be something.
Never, I don't, I'm so bored when I stop learning that I feel like, okay, what am I going to do next? And so I think it's such a valuable skill to like just keep taking things in, whether it's for something that you're really passionate about or something that you're just like, I don't know, I listened to this in a podcast today and that's a new thing that I now know. Like that's cool as well. And so just makes you a more interesting person and gives you some dimension, I think.
Yeah, and I think that's important. I think so. A question I would ask is in a season where you have felt stuck, uninspired, everything's looking the same, feeling the same. How do you kind of pull yourself out of that? Like, what is your advice for that?
Well, for me, since I'm a designer, I can, if I have a lot of projects that are all looking the same or feeling the same, whether they actually are or they aren't, like, I normally will try to either bring on a new client for a new project that's hopefully something that's a little bit different or a lot of bit different than a lot of the stuff that I've been working on, or if I can't find like a different client to bring on, I will likely just do something creative on my own, like either make something up or pretend that I'm doing something for some like organization or team or something like that, rebrand their social media with a few like different templates and kind of build that out or whatever. And so for me, I think as creative, it's a little bit easier, honestly, to do that than some other fields if you're feeling stuck or in a rut or like you're doing the same thing, because I can just create a new project to make and like have it be a different style. Like I did that 2 weeks ago. And so I was like, I'm kind of doing a lot of the same stuff right now. I'm gonna just like look up some company that I like to do business with, like in a personal like sense. I buy a lot of their products and stuff like that. And what does their website look like, or what does their social media look like, and how can I don't know, just it, obviously it doesn't go anywhere, but like how can I just like make it up and figure out how to like, in my opinion, improve it or change it a little bit. And
Yeah.
so that's just an easy like way to, I don't know, get out of that rut, I guess.
I think one of the things that I've always appreciated about the way that you work is like, I'm doing this thing. I'm like, do you know anything about that? Like, nope, I'm doing it. And I think in some senses, you have ventured into spaces where there were not mentors for you. There were not people you knew who were ahead of you. And so I think, what encouragement would you give to somebody if you're like, I feel like I'm in a space where like I don't know someone who does this, someone hasn't shown me the way. What is the encouragement you would give on continuing on anyway?
I don't know, like it's stupid, but just like actually do it. Like that's the whole Nike thing, right? But like it's so true, it's so real. It's like just actually do it. And so my whole 2026 like one vow I've made to myself this year, I guess. Like I've not done resolutions, I've not done anything else. But the one thing I've told myself that I'm gonna do this year is like stop thinking about the things that I'm gonna try and maybe do and just actually go do them. And we're 23 days into the year so far, and I'm having a better year to start this year than I have ever had in any of the other years because I'm just actually doing the things that I am thinking about and doing. And I've heard something probably 10 or 15 times over the last 6 months, which is partially why I'm starting to do this. That it's like, if you wait to put a perfect product out, you're never going to put a perfect product out, or you're never going to like do a perfect thing, right? And so like, if you have an 80% done thing, put it out because you can at least get feedback on it and iterate on it. And sure, you're not gonna, it's an 80% product, but like that's my 80%, right? So my 80% could be someone else's 150%. Like they're, wow, that I could never do that. That's so crazy. And so getting out of my own head about that has kind of been really helpful. And I've seen incredible results already in 23 days. So
It's like the
that's
most
what I would
important
say.
thing in the
It's
world to
just
me right
do the
now.
stuff.
Like just do it. And I think like this does come back. I think so many of the things we've talked about dovetail into this space right here, right? Like, can you go somewhere someone isn't leading you? Can you go somewhere you've never been before? And I don't mean like get on a, I mean maybe I mean get on a bus, but like in reality, like I've never like uh the things we haven't done or that we keep ourselves from doing that we actually can just choose to do. And how much we get in our own way on that because it's not going to be like, it's not going to be perfect. Like, whoa, we got it. We got to work through that.
Right.
And I think like the other thing is just like growth. Like even the things that I feel like I put out that were great 5 years ago, they're still good. Are they as good as I would do them now? Probably not. And so like when you think about it that way, like all we have is time. And like, do you want to spend your time actually doing the thing or beating yourself up for not doing it, or waiting
Right.
and assessing. Like, you want to spend your life waiting, or you want to spend your life doing.
There was something that I realized probably 6 to 8 months ago as well. That was, if I'm scared or like resistant to doing something, that probably means that I should do it. For whatever reason in my head, I'm like making up reasons not to do it. I'm giving myself excuses not to do it. But what I've found out so far this year is that that's where you make the most growth. Like I was so resistant to taking my business in one direction because I was like, that's not where I want this to go. And in the first 23 days of this year so far, I've done almost the same amount as I did last year. Like, and so taking it in a way that you might not want it to go might be the best thing for you, right? Whatever that means to you. It doesn't have to be about business. It could be like doing something that you don't want to do could be the best thing for you. And so I think you're exactly right.
Well, I think what that really comes back to, like, even the way you said, like, doing something you don't want to do could be the thing you need to do. Like, growth is not comfortable.
No.
And, like,
otherwise it would be really easy and everyone would be at the top, right? Like,
and that's not how anything works. And so, like, in reality, if growth is uncomfortable, then the opposite of growing is really just shrinking. And, like, I think that is, in reality, if you're looking at these two decisions, do you want to be uncomfortable and grow, or do you want to be really comfortable and shrink?
right.
And, like,
I mean, they
I
talk to you
actually,
about
go ahead.
opportunity cost in business, right? Like that's literally what you're doing by just not doing anything. The opportunity cost of that is tremendous. And if you can get that into your head of, okay, I'm not doing anything, but this is what I could be doing. And if you're thinking about that every day and you're not doing what you're thinking about doing, like you're literally just wasting your time. And so I did that for so long and was thinking about, oh, I should just start doing these things and start doing whatever. And that was 2 years ago and I started the company, right? And so like it's been a phenomenal and super fun journey and I'm so small still. Like I'm so small compared to all of these other people. But that's the other thing is I can't compare myself as someone that's been doing this for 2 years to someone that's been doing it for 20 or 30, right? Like that's not how this works either. And so that's been another reminder I have to give
Well,
myself.
and I think what I would add to that, like I already brought up Glenn Seninger once, I'm gonna bring him up again. Like
Love it.
Glenn would never look at anyone doing mentoring in a fast casual component and say, don't do that.
Right.
Like no one who's been doing this for 20 to 30 years is gonna look down at somebody who's been doing it for two and be like, well, you've only been doing it for 2 years. I'm like,
Right.
I think that's the other encouragement, and that's where I think even these conversations have so much benefit, is the people I know who are the best at what they do are so excited when someone gets started.
Exactly.
Like, like the only person who is scared here is you. And so when you can manage your response to that fear, the world opens up for you.
I was talking to someone about this the other day on a ski lift. Because they were like resistant to going into the terrain park because they was, oh, I'm so scared. Everyone's so good. I'm like, yeah, great. Go in and do it. Like they're going to be psyched to see someone that's not good at this doing this. They're used to people that are doing this and doing this really well. And so for them to see someone that's coming in, trying something new, they're not going to give you shit for it. They're probably going to actually be like, damn, that's sick. And they might even tell you that. Like, and so again, no one's going to look down on you for doing something when you're starting. Like maybe they are, and that's a sign that you don't want to be around that person. Like they're letting you know who they are, right? And so
yeah, that's not your person. That's okay. That actually has nothing to do with you.
right, that's not a you problem. That's a them problem, right? Yeah. Like for some reason they're mad or jealous or whatever, like envious or whatever the case is, and so let them be. Like that's chill. Just let them be like that. Move on and do your thing. Like that's how that works. So
yes. Okay, so you've advised and refined a lot of ideas for other people, like 9 to 5, freelance, entrepreneurial things, creative things. What makes feedback feel good and encouraging instead of like just draining? Because I think that like, that feedback process can be hard. And I think the other thing that I'm kind of that has come up in these conversations is just the need for feedback and how we kind of manage that.
I mean, I think for me, the biggest thing about taking feedback, and I had to learn this when I was in school, and especially like getting out into the like freelance in my own company and all of that. I think that taking feedback is really important because it's people actually telling you what they think. And if you start getting offended by that, and if you start taking it super personally, that's not going to go well, obviously. and it's not going to be productive either. And so I think that for me, giving feedback, a lot of times, if I have some potentially negative feedback or feedback that could be taken harshly or whatever the case is, I'll tell them several things that I like about it, and then I'll be like, hey, this is the one thing that I have a potential issue with, and give them like a reason why I have a problem with it as well. And like, I think that's the really big thing is like, if you're going to give constructive criticism, give it in a way that explains why you're giving it to them, because that doesn't leave any room for them to wonder, right? And so if they're wondering about why you're giving them that feedback or what maybe they could change about it, like they're probably going to be running negative situations through their head versus if I'm telling you some more critical feedback, whether it's personal or about a project, I'm going to try and tell you it in a way that is constructive and sort of pushes you into the direction that you want to be going in the end. And then I think also after the fact, once they complete whatever that work is and go back and fix it, or maybe even like change it completely, going back and really encouraging and saying, wow, this is great after the fact, and like enforcing, like, I guess reinforcing what you said earlier is super important. I think that sort of closes the loop on it and makes them feel good about it in the end again. And if they had any negative feelings about the feedback earlier, that kind of helps eliminate that and sets it off in a positive like note. So
I think that that's a really interesting point in the conversation around mentorship, which this is not necessarily about, but I think I've had the opportunity to partner with and lead a number of creatives. And I think one of the things that's incredibly hard about being a creative is everybody feels like they have the ability to voice an opinion about your work. Whether they have the degree you have, the experience you have, the expertise you have, the eye you have. And so I think that there is a reality where in many senses, creatives have to be incredibly good at what I think oftentimes mentors have to be, which is like, I hear your feedback. Thank you for sharing it. Here's why, or like, could we do it this way? And like, I think about an instance in the last year or so where, feedback is given that has nothing to do with design, but like, can we also just change this color? Like,
right.
No, actually, because it's done in a specific way that threads these things. And I think like there is just so much complexity to the way feedback in a creative space is managed because it's so misunderstood. And you're often in a position where unless you are the creative director or the, founder, owner, operator of your own creative enterprise, and even then you're dealing with a client who's got opinions and is going to voice them.
And they're strong.
and they're paying you, right? Like there's pressure there for sure. I just think that is one of the things that creatives are uniquely suited at doing well in a mentorship space because you're so familiar with the conversation.
Right. And I think a lot of times the creative is oftentimes on the receiving end of it too. And so like they would know potentially more so than others how they like it to feel and how they don't like it to feel. And so that's really helpful when they have to then go give that same feedback to someone else.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that is so true. Like, I just don't like it is not workable feedback. It means like
that's not constructive.
What and I think like again, not a mentoring conversation, but directly related to a mentoring construct where like you shouldn't have done that, or I don't like that, or I don't like how that went. That is so not constructive. Like what even at baseline, when someone gives you that feedback, what are you supposed to do with it? Like
right. And that's why I said earlier, like giving a reason is so important because if you give a reason, it kind of gives them at least something to grab onto and think, oh, okay, this is what I did wrong in that part. Or like if you give them an example, that's even better and it like just calls exactly what it is out. Yep. And so again, being on the receiving end of that feedback so much and getting feedback like, I don't like that. I'm like, okay, and then I have to go prompt you and ask why, or what would you like me to do different? Like you have to get to the clarification point at some point. And I don't know, it's easier if you just provide that up front and not have to like make them dig for it. Mm-hmm.
So I want you really already said it, but I'm going to ask you again, because you said getting to that clarification point, asking those clarification, what is, when you think about maybe even being newer or younger in your career than you are now, and you're like navigating this for the first time, what advice do you have for somebody who's maybe new in their role and is getting feedback that is unclear, and like how to A, manage that personally, and then B, how to kind of reach that point of clarification?
Um, I think that it's really important for you to be confident in your abilities, but very open to learning still. And that goes back to what we were talking about earlier, is like always be ready to learn. And it can be things as little as, hey, here's how you actually should, again, for an example for me, like how you should actually space fonts and how you should actually make everything properly laid out on a page, right? And like, okay, great. If I was resistant to that, I would be bad at my job. Like, and so there's an aspect of like, you have to be confident about what you're doing because you're the one that's doing it and like they hired you for a reason, but also be very open to learning and like open to feedback. And so, yeah, that's what I would say about that.
It's such good advice, and I mean, it definitely extends beyond just the design world. It just has always been for me the most confounding when it exists in the design world. So thank you for that. When you think about people coming behind you, what do you feel responsible to pass on to those people, not just in skills, but in mindset?
I think that creating systems, especially for teams, is really important. And so if I can be the one that builds that system for people, and then if I leave or if I can't do something because I'm on vacation or whatever the case is, like there's not a problem. It's not like I'm gone and the world falls apart. And no one should be, I don't think, that pivotal to like their organization that if they're gone or if they're sick or whatever the case is, like everything just gets stopped. And so I think for me, building systems is the most important part about creating something that you can leave behind for people behind you, is that you want to build structure. And if you build structure, people have something that they can easily follow whether you're there or not, and they know what the process looks like. They know what to expect when they come to you for a request. They know how long things are going to take. They know generally what the feedback cycle looks like. They know what to expect. And so from all aspects, that's really helpful. And so building systems, I think, to leave behind, whether you're planning on only being for a job for 2 years and then you're going to try and improve everything and then leave. Like it's you would do such a disservice by not doing that, because then you set the next person up for failure. Like they're coming into a situation where they don't know what's going on, versus if you've built systems before you left, someone else can also come in after that and you're not screwing them. They have an idea and they can be told how the system works. And if they don't like it, they can change it and tweak it and all that stuff. That's totally fine.
But they're not trying to figure it out.
Right, exactly. And so I think setting people up for success is easiest when you do that.
I appreciate that. What's one thing you wish young professionals would stop waiting for permission to do?
Their jobs. I think that like I just said, people are so tentative about when they first start, about not doing things without asking for permission first, or being so stuck in a feedback loop on every single thing that they do that it hinders their job so much. And so again, like I said, be confident, be very confident. They hired you for a reason, but also take that with a grain of salt, be willing to learn on a moment's notice and do what they hired you to do, right? Like, and do it really well. That's why they hired you. And so I think that the biggest thing I would tell people is just be confident. And
I appreciate everything about that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course.
Looking back, who helped you become more yourself, not just more successful?
So many people come to mind. I mean, our whole team at Alumni, when I was first working there, the dream team, you know who that is. Like, that whole community helped me build so much of that confidence that I'm talking about now. And like having something like that is really important as a young professional, because again, getting feedback in a very positive way on a lot of stuff that you're doing, and that people love it and that it's going well and like it's being received very well. Having people that do that for you in your career, especially as a young professional, has been monumental in building kind of me as who I am today. And so I think that I mean, obviously I don't know who I would be if that wasn't the situation I was
Yeah.
in, but like I can imagine, and I would probably not be as confident and as into what I do as I am now. And so,
I want to dovetail that with your answer to the last question because I do think, like Drew, you were so willing to ask questions.
and
And so,
that's
like, I
so
think
important.
it's so important. And it also dovetails with, like, you got to put it out there. Like, it's easy to give feedback on something when you're willing to show something. And it's easy to say, I was helped in these ways because you asked for help. And so I think
Right.
like one of the things that I appreciate about all of the content we've talked about today is like it all points in this direction of like you got to show up. You got to believe you were hired on purpose. You got to believe you have the skills to do your job. You got to ask for advice. You got to be willing to be uncomfortable. But all of those things equal your success and growth.
Yeah, I mean, and then you nailed it. I mean, you have to be there to take advantage of the opportunities, right? If you're not there, you can't take it. Like you're just missing out from the beginning. Like if you, it's again the opportunity cost of not showing up is everything. Like you have no idea. It could be everything. It could be the change that you've been looking for in your life. And so just show up and do the thing that you're supposed to do, and you don't ever know what will happen.
I appreciate that. Last question. What's one question you think every mentor should be brave enough to ask the people they're guiding?
I don't know. I don't know if I have an answer to that exact. Like I don't know if I have a question that comes to mind.
Okay.
Except I would say maybe like why aren't you doing that is my thing. And
So
that's like the
that's the question. That's
summary
it. Say it
of
again. Say it again. Say it
that's the
again.
summary of what we've been talking about this whole time. It's
Yep.
like why aren't you doing that? Like that's what you know that's what you're supposed to be doing. I know that's what you're supposed to be doing. Why aren't you doing that? Are you scared? Go do it then. Like do it scared. Are you lazy? Okay, figure it out. You can either hire it out to someone else or do it yourself and get off your like high horse. Oh, I'm too good to do that. Like there's so many things that I've had to do, especially growing my own business, that I'm like, I don't really want to do that. But in order for this to function, I have to do that. Like I don't know. I think that's the biggest thing is like I would. I don't know if that's like a scary question to ask though, but just that's what I would say is why aren't you doing that?
I think it's a scary question to ask because there's not a soft way out of it. Like I think this is like quick pause because I think people often look at the mentors and say that they're up here, they've got their life figured out. Like, okay, everything's hard all the time. Every time you level up, there's new challenges, everything is hard. And I think there can be a discomfort with when you're talking to a student who you've obviously chosen to invest in, you've taken the time, you're clearly encouraged and excited about where this person is going. If you ask them a question that they feel like they can't, are they going to stop meeting with you? Are they going to say you weren't a good mentor? Are they going to just break down and cry and you have to deal with that? Like, I think there is a lot of risk in asking, so why aren't you doing it? Like, that's a bold question. And it's
Right.
a
I
question
mean,
that needs
you're
to
right.
be
It
asked.
definitely pins them. Like it's
Yeah.
you have like there's no way to get around that question. It's not
Yeah.
like I mean, I guess you could make up excuses or whatever, but like that's going to be obvious, right? And so it kind of just pins you in a spot where it's like whether you answer the question honestly to them or not, you know the honest answer. That's kind of why I like that question is because whether you tell me or not, I just made you conscious of what you don't want to do. And so that's so important, I think, is again, doing the things that you don't want to do. Do them scared, do them anxious, do them bored. I don't care. Like, do them because you think you're above them. I don't care. Like, just go do the thing that you know you're supposed to do that's going to get you to the next space, even if you don't want to do it.
Well, and I think like it's encouraging to the mentee, but I think what you're also doing is really advising a mentor, like ask the hard questions. Like everyone is busy, no one has too much time. So if you're taking the time to guide someone in whatever formal or informal context, if you care about them and their growth, you need to be willing to ask them hard questions.
And I think that's the only way that you can actually get anywhere, right? Like, and I've learned this over the years is avoiding the hard questions or avoiding the hard conversations prolongs whatever the issue is that you're having, right? Whatever, like that can mean so many different things in so many different situations, but having that hard conversation or asking that hard question is uncomfortable. It's not always going to be fun, but it's going to get results every time. Whether you like the results or not, it's going to get you a result. And I think that's why it's such an important thing to like have those hard conversations or ask those not so fun questions or questions that just pin you. Like you have to answer.
I think it's because it's easy to scroll away. It's easy, like so many of the contexts we're in are just actually not fixed in that reality where like, no, you have to do the next thing. And so I think I love that you started with I don't have an answer to this and then gave me the best answer in the whole world. So thank you for that. I appreciate you. Last question. If somebody's like, this guy seems cool, maybe he should design my stuff, how does somebody find you?
I'm on Instagram. Hit up Beehive Threads on Instagram. That's my business account. If you want apparel, if you want personal designs, sports designs, whatever, hit my personal Instagram. It's just Drew Holton. I'm on, I don't know, I have a website, so you can just Google me. I don't know. That's the Kurt Signetti quote, I guess.
Kurt Signetti.
Yeah. No, I mean, hit me up. Like, there's so many things that we can do together. I'm willing to work. If you like my energy, let's get together. Let's talk. So.
Perfect. Hey, this was a great conversation. Thanks for real talking with us. It was great to see your face. And, all this stuff will be up. I love you too. It's great to see your face.
I will, I'm looking forward to coming out.
Listen, we have so much more snow than you. We have no mountains, so.
I know. It's just thumbs down here. I saw something on Instagram the other day. It was like 0.1 inches has our total snowfall from down in the valley this whole winter. And previously, the worst one to that was like 18 or 20 or something like that. I was like, this cannot be the year that we get less than an inch of snow, please.
It's so, like,
I'm gonna lose it. Like,
you know why we live in Utah? We live in Utah because of the snow. Come on.
And Russia got like 14 feet. What's going on there? Did they just take all of the snow, bro? Let some of it drift across, come to us. Let's just share a little bit. There's enough to share.
We love sharing.
Isn't that their whole thing?
I'm sorry about your winter. I love your face. And talk to you soon.
See ya.
Bye, Drew.